everyone. Welcome to the Immortality Podcast once again. I'm your host, Jake, here with Josh.
Hello.
Hi, Josh. Today we have a tea that many of you have probably heard of, Tie Guan Yin. Josh, you've had this tea already, right?
Yeah, this is one of the most famous teas, right? Like one of the more well-known teas, or styles.
Yeah. So it's certainly drinking throughout China. I fairly confident in saying it's the most well-known oolong tea in China. I'm just doing a hot water rinse on all the teaware right now, as I generally always do.
I really like the quality and the farm and the process of the Tie Guan Yin that you guys source. Like, I've had other people give me samples from like what they like, but this is next level. I mean, this is like one of the ones, whenever it disappears, I really, really miss this until it comes back.
Yeah, and it disappears fast too. We only usually have it for a month or two. So with like the popularity of Tie Guan Yin, that it's like such a well-known and popular tea, there's going to be a lot of mid and lower grades flooding the market as well. So while many people have had Tie Guan Yin, I think many have not. Will not. I think many will not be used to Tie Guan Yin quite on this level of quality. Really bright green. Here, Josh, do you want to smell it?
Oh yeah.
Just the dry leaves. I think kind of like a piney resinous scent just on the dry leaves, which is what you want. And you want like the more pungent of the scent, the better.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So this is also very fresh harvest.
There's also a nice sweetness undertone to the kind of piney resinous smell.
Yeah, this is certainly one of our more aromatically complex teas. So this one is freshly harvested. It's just about Thanksgiving at the time of recording this, and this was harvested on October 5th of this year. So fall harvest Tie Guan Yin. I'm gonna rinse this one just because it's a bald oolong, and I want to get the balls just kind of unfurl just a little before we do our first infusion. And again, as I usually do, I like to rinse the cups with the rinse water. That gets the oils coating everything. And then, because Gong Fu is such a full sensory experience, let's smell the leaves again once they've been rinsed.
I like the leaves on this one because they seem very hardy and sturdy. Like
big leaves.
Whoa, there's a butteriness in here.
Yeah, so now a lot more elements have joined. Buttery, more floral and fruit flavor aromas, maybe like a little bit of like something salty or metallic as well.
I really like this tea for my lungs. Anyone listening?
Interesting.
I don't know what about it, but if your lungs ever feel dry or like they're not, hydrated, this tea for some reason hydrates the mouth, hydrates the back of the throat, and it really makes my lungs feel really, really good. And I think it's due to the floral and the butteriness, like whatever those traits come from.
Okay, slurping sounds.
Oh man, buttered popcorn.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, seaweed.
Yeah, definitely seaweed. I think predominantly floral, for me anyway. Lilac, lavender, tulips on kind of in that on that end of the floral spectrum would be like the kind of the predominant note. But this one is just so complex. You could probably write a whole page of tasting notes on this tea. Honestly,
this one came to my attention because one of the baristas, Dylan, this was his favorite tea, and he told me to try it, and I was like, okay, and it's amazing. I mean, like, this has quickly become one of my favorite teas among the oolongs and really among all the genres, just because it's really good. And then what's unique about growing the Tie Guan Yin plant? Isn't there something unique about how they only harvest certain ages of plants?
A lot of teas we say, especially that we've had on here, we say that older material is generally better. Not so with Tie Guan Yin. These tea plants are just 4 years old, so we're not really looking for like old arbor, old bush character in these. We're trying to accentuate the fresh sense, the floral sense. So with that, just 4-year-old tea bushes, which is considered the most desirable. Generally, actually, the Tie Guan Yin plants are torn out after 4-5 years, and new ones are planted.
And that really reminds me of the energy of this tea, which is young. It feels like you are drinking childhood.
Yeah.
It feels like whatever's going on in that plant at 4 years of age has so much life force energy.
Yeah.
At least that's what I tell myself when I drink this one.
Sure. And it's certainly not lacking for like depth and complexity. I think this one is like maybe more top notey than a lot of the teas we've had on the program. So for anyone who likes very like in your face flavors, but also very complex flavors, I think this is like just a total standout. So what else are we tasting here?
The buttery and the creaminess is starting to go away in the second steep. And some of the floral and the seaweeds are kind of coming out more, and the vegetableness, I think.
Yeah, I'm finding this second steep to be maybe slightly on the fruitier side.
Oh yeah,
and I think it's like I think of pomegranate seeds when I drink this one.
Yeah.
Do you like? Is that, I don't know if that's like a crazy stretch or something.
There is that like sweetness, but it's like a light sweetness.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like bursting and juicy.
Yeah. Versus like a fleshy mango, this is more like bursting and juicy because of that. How the pomegranate has that light, crisp juiciness. And I really taste the pomegranate on the aftertaste.
Yeah.
It's just when I exhale and inhale and just taste the back of my tongue, I can really feel that fruitiness come out.
Yeah, it definitely leaves a good bit of sensation on the palate. Yeah, like pine flowers, and the pomegranate seeds.
I bought 2 bags of this,
Oh my God.
full bags, and just so you know, I think
the big ones, the vacuum sealed
yeah,
bags.
the big
Okay.
ones. And then what's crazy is I've already I gave half to my brother because he really likes it, and so I've got I'm almost through the first bag, and it's only been 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is like I said, that this is certainly one of our most popular teas. You're not the only person I know who's bought a full, I think, 250 gram bag.
And for everyone listening, you don't need to do that. Just buy it by the ounce.
Yeah,
Because I need my tea.
Honestly, it might not even make it into the cafe this year. We'll see, like how quickly it's bought up. Just a little background information on the tea itself. So the name Tie Guan Yin, it refers to the varietal. So it's the specific kind of tea plant. So it's like calling a wine a Merlot, that's the specific grape varietal. Or like a Cabernet Sauvignon, as opposed to saying it's a Rioja and naming it after a place. But the name means iron goddess of compassion, or the Guan Yin, which is the Chinese name for Avalokitesvara, who more technically is a Bodhisattva of compassion.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the iron bodhisattva of compassion is what we're drinking.
Technically, yeah. That would be the direct translation. And it's named that, of course, because of a cutesy Chinese legend, like most of them are. Well, there's actually a couple legends about the name, but
Tell us the legends.
oh God,
I love bodhisattvas.
Well, one of the more prominent ones was that a farmer was walking along the side of the road and saw sort of a dilapidated shrine to Avalokitesvara or Guan Yin, and so he decided to kind of clean it out and sweep it out, and he did this like every day for a while, and eventually he had a vision of the Bodhisattva visiting him, and the Bodhisattva was like, "Oh yeah, thank you for the attention. Here's like this treasure," and he gave the farmer a tea plant, and that tea plant was supposed to be the first Tie Guan Yin bush. So that's sort of the Buddhist connection right there.
I like that. A spiritual deity helped a humble human discover this wonderful, wonderful tea varietal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is mind-boggling. Like, even though I'm just kind of breathing in, I can feel my lungs expanding.
It's pretty energetic, right?
Yeah, and it's just a calm, beautiful energy. It's really just a nice, almost bodhisattva-like, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't really sat with this one yet, unfortunately, but I'm definitely feeling a sort of powerful, for me, more like upward going energy. Of course, this one comes from Anxi, the Anxi area in Fujian. So we've drinking a lot of teas from Fujian here, most notably the Wu Yi oolongs. Wu Yi is more north in Fujian, a little more inland. Anxi is more south and closer to the coast.
Is this the third or the fourth?
I think we're on the fourth.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love you, Tie Guan Yin.
I could be wrong as always.
Go back and check the video footage for all those watching.
Are we on the third or the fourth steeping? A little more savory now, right?
Yeah.
More sea vegetable.
There's still that like buttery creaminess, but it's like the buttery creaminess is still at the very beginning of the front note, like at the front of the tongue.
Yeah.
But then the vegetable quickly comes in because, it's like that butteriness is fading and it's going into that vegetable floralness.
Historically, in the past, this tea was more often roasted, made into like a roasted oolong, which of course you can still find. But now the more popular style is this, like leaving it green and just lightly oxidized, which is probably the more popular overall option with bald oolongs these days, especially in Taiwan. It's like sort of the same. Like there are roasted oolongs. They're big, but I think the more popular style is the green oolongs.
Why do you think the leaves when they unfurl are so crisp? I mean, it's a noticeable difference between the high mountain oolongs, which kind of, as the leaves unfurl, they become, very graceful, like a piece of seaweed in the water, But then there's almost this like added layer of thickness or exoskeleton on these leaves, and like I know exoskeleton isn't like the right word, but just the texture is beautiful to me. I kind of want to take the texture.
Do you mean how it's maybe a little more like angular?
Yeah, it's angular and then it unfurls, and maybe that's because how are they processing it?
Well, I think,
are they serrating it at all, or
no? There may be a little more bruising on this. You can see for anyone watching the video, there is like some kind of like brown spots on the leaves, especially on the edges, and that is that's intentional, of course. That's what they want. They want to be like sort of bruising the edge of the leaves. That comes from like the rolling and frying stages generally. Of course, what that does is gets the cell walls broken down and it releases additional sweetness. That's sort of the whole idea behind this style of tea. Now, I'm glad you brought up the contrast between Taiwanese oolongs. Because we've had a few Taiwanese oolongs on the program before, and I do feel like there's like quite a bit of difference in the style. And I think it's one thing is like the terroir, right? Of course, like the Anxi, like Southern Fujian, is a very different like growing environment than like a high mountain oolong.
So Fujian has the Wuyi Nature Preserve. So is it more mountainous or more microclimates?
Not the Anxi area, not as much. It's a slightly lower elevation, especially as compared to Taiwan oolongs.
So maybe that the Chinese oolong, because of the lower elevation, has to do more stuff for heat, has to do more stuff for, a lower elevation climate to kind of maintain.
Sure. Also, you don't see a lot of Tie Guan Yin processed in Taiwan either. And like the bush is going to have its own character.
Oh, okay.
And of course, there's slightly different processing techniques. They are somewhat distinct tea traditions. Well, another very distinct thing about this style compared to Taiwan, again, like I'm sorry for anyone like trying to listen, but I'm going to show the leaves more. Do you notice what looks different about these leaves compared to a Taiwanese oolongs? There's one very big difference.
There's no stem.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Exactly.
So the flavor, there's a flavor enhancement from the leaf then with no stem.
I don't know. Yeah, in my experience, stems usually add like sort of like maybe more like a roundness to a tea, maybe a little more body and sweetness. Just vary in general. But this tea is all leaf, no bud really either. Just like leaf, like full leaf. So not sure exactly what that does. I have had a Tie Guan Yin where the farmer left the stems on just for like educational purposes. It was definitely good, but you could tell it was a little creamier and maybe a little less aroma forward than this. And I think the Taiwan oolongs tend more towards body and creaminess. So that's one of the major differences in styles right there.
Are there any other differences that we didn't mention?
I think we covered the major ones. Processing should be fairly similar: drying, withering, rolling, baking, fixing.
Another secret about this tea that I like, sometimes I will double fist coffee and tea.
What?
I know this seems crazy.
That is crazy.
This seems insane.
That is insane.
There's a doctor that goes to the Trident Cafe named Dr. Joel.
No.
And he's really into like longevity and health.
Mm-hmm.
And he does this thing where he will have like 4 to 6 ounces of coffee, and then he'll have like tea. And then he'll kind of sip the coffee while he's drinking good tea. But what it does, and I know it seems like sacrilegious for all the tea nerds.
What is his theory? I don't actually know this.
Well, the caffeine from the coffee helps it ride in, but the coffee doesn't have as many vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients as some of the teas.
Sure.
And so he'll basically put the antioxidants and everything from the tea, and then that rides in on the coffee and the caffeine. And then it's this nice little double fist. But for me, why I like it is because I can taste the individual properties of the coffee I'm drinking, and I can really taste the individual properties of the tea. It's almost like steroid taste. But I mean, I could be wrong.
You don't think the flavors clash?
It's weird. The tea, the coffee has almost a bitterness and a sweetness if it's done right. But the bitterness almost brings out the subtle sweetness of the tea. So like, if the tea has any subtle sweetness, it kind of pops. It's very weird. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because I definitely do it with the Tie Guan Yin, just because I just like it. It's really good.
I'm gonna start a long steep right here. I think we're about to the end. We've gotten like 6 steeps so far, so like 6 and a long steep I think is like pretty. Yeah, sounds about right to me for this.
I guess that is one of the things that's not so good about this tea, which is probably why I go through it fast. You could steep it really fast.
Yeah,
really fast.
Yeah, but it's still super nice. We're definitely in later steepings now. More, I don't know, for me, piney, like dank, like a little resiny. Wildflowers are still there. There's, maybe a little more umami in this one now.
Definitely the creamy and the butteriness have gone, and now it really is wildflowers and pine.
Yeah,
it's really nice. And this, like, I guess that's why I like it, because it changes, and you've got a beginning flavor and an end flavor. And then what I'll do is I'll even leave this grandpa style sometimes after I've steeped it.
Sure, yeah.
So how would you suggest this tea for folks?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So I think, we saw a lot of Taiwanese oolongs. We saw a lot of, the Wu Yi oolongs too. I think this tea is really nice if you're looking for definitely fresh flavors, complexity, good energetic feeling. I think, if you have tried a lot of Taiwanese oolongs and you're looking for something like kind of outside that box, this is pleasantly, surprisingly different. Definitely a different style. Like the Chinese green oolongs do taste quite distinct from the Taiwanese oolongs. I think that's mostly from the plucking, but also, like I said, from the terroir and the varietal.
Yeah, and definitely from the like no stem on the Chinese.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the plucking.
Oh yeah, the plucking. That makes sense.
But yeah, so oolong lovers, look out. Visit your local. Visit a Trident near you for this tea. It's harvested once a year and won't be back until next October and November.
Do you think green tea lovers might like this one as well?
I think so. This also honestly has some qualities that remind me of a Japanese green. Like, it's weird to say. Yeah, I'm literally just spitballing here, but it might be proximity to the coast. Honestly, some like kind of ocean air, because it does have some oceany qualities. I keep saying sea vegetable on this one.
Yep. That makes sense.
But like kind of like light and fresh in the same way as Japanese teas are. And I think Japanese teas are also tend to be like kind of just leaf, not really stem and bud. So there's not another like crossover there.
Yeah, maybe that's why I asked the question, because there was that kind of ocean freshness and the umame kind of seaweed.
Yeah, but this is a great tea. It's definitely one of our most popular. People flock to it. Definitely give it a try if you have the chance and you haven't tried this before.
I also think this is a good crowd pleaser. I know this seems very strange.
Yeah, no, it's a good crowd pleaser. Like,
yeah. It's not
there's nothing wrong with it.
this is one I definitely gave to my mom. And I had some from last year, and I gave it to her just because sometimes she gets sick and she needs something to drink that's healthy. And this to me is one of the more, I don't know, life invigorating teas that even like I like to drink if I'm feeling slightly sick or slightly under the weather. But this is really a good one for your medicine cabinet too.
I think the Wu Yi oolongs, and pu'er also like they're a little bit more of an acquired taste. You have to like be like looking for like earthy flavors, like you have to be okay with like kind of bitter, like rock, whatever. But this one I think is enjoyable. I think this one is, like you said, more of a crowd pleaser. It's pretty accessible. Floral, fruit, pine. The complexity is like there, and it's definitely easy to enjoy.
So where can people find this one, and how long do you think this will be around?
So you can find this tea and others like it either in the store on Pearl Street or online at tridentcafe.com/teas. It will not be around for very long, to answer your question, so get it while supplies last.
Don't sleep on this one. I'm probably going to get a third and fourth bag right after this one.
Get it before Josh drinks it all.
I am the tea bodhisattva. Jake is a tea bodhisattva.
Oh God, okay. Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. I'm your host, Jake, here with Josh. Thank you so much.
We will see you next time.